Wow, Mexico has been eliminated of the 2026 World Cup. A game that, yes, we can say Mexico was clearly going to lose this game. Mexico did not have the players. Mexico this, Mexico that. But with the way that we have been playing the last couple of weeks now, I mean, it looked like we could have even won the World Cup. Javier Aguirre really made us play an incredibly attractive brand of football, a brand of football that I thought I'd never see anywhere near at this point in time, especially after getting grouped in the World Cup 2022, getting grouped in the Copa America back in 2024, and seeing the same core of players. You cannot, I cannot fathom the fact that but if you put me back then, if you told me we're gonna be in a quarterfinal, I mean around the 16 against England, and we would be considered as a 50-50 game, I'll tell you, no shot. There's absolutely no way. Look at the players that got us eliminated. I can't see of any bright stars popping up, and yet I think Javier Aguirre did an incredible job bringing us back to a point where Mexico is seen as an actual threat, where Mexico is seen with respect, where Mexico is not seen as a joke of CONCACAF alongside the US and alongside Canada. No, this is a Mexican side that really made us proud, really fought to the end, and I'm very excited to see where Rafa Marquez is able to take this Mexican team in the Copa America. I mean, I'm already believing that we could even win it with the way that we're playing. But regardless of how good the final thoughts, the overall picture feels like, the end game, it just feels like we could have done a lot more. We could have won this match 100%. Kwanzaa gets a red card early on into the second half. 10-man Mexico up against England. A Mexican side who is very, very scary. A Mexican side that gave England a variety of struggles that should have been winning this game, honestly, because we played better than England. We outplayed England for the 90 minutes. But yeah, let's just segue into the match itself. The lineup, I liked it. It's been the same line that we've been putting out. Romo, I've already talked about that, but I trust Aguirre. I trust Aguirre. Gallardo, same thing. I trust Aguirre, and he got us here in the first place. We started very well. We started the way I thought we should have started, not allowing England to have any time on the ball, forcing them to play on the long balls, and we're winning every single one of those. We're cleaning up that. Eric Lira looked incredible. That first half for Mexico was just insane to me. But one issue, Jorge Sanchez. I don't want this, like I already talked about this. This is the same generation of players that got us grouped in the 2022 and the 2024 World Cup. And weaknesses like this, the talent level was a talent pool, we were going to get exposed eventually. And this time around, it was Anthony Gordon. Jorge Sanchez, he's renowned for not being a good defender. He doesn't have the highest IQ when it comes to defending. Now he's facing an Anthony Gordon who, me personally, I don't rate, but he's a pace merchant. And he showed that he was way quicker than Jorge Sanchez. So at that point in the game, what is the point of having Jorge Sanchez on the field? Gordon had knocked on the door multiple times. He had gotten past Jorge Sanchez a multitude of times. And Jorge Sanchez overall defensively, he did not look the best in this English side leading up to the first goal. Gallardo, same thing. He played poor against Ecuador this game around. Saka, the one time he gets a 1v1 on him, beats him easily. Just passes him. We've been lacking on fullbacks. It got exposed in this game against England, one of the favorites to win the whole thing. And Jorge Sanchez, whether you want to blame Alvarado, who, yes, I do put a bit of blame on Alvarado. He should have told Jorge Sanchez to cover that center a bit more because Jude was going to come in and he was losing his mark. So I put it on both of them. But overall, the performance by Jorge Sanchez was poor today. It was really poor. And that hard work, that incredible pressure that we were applying on England, kind of went to the mud. We ended up 1-0, but I still had hope. I had hope that we would continue to play our game and that the goals were eventually going to come through. And yes, eventually the goals did come through with Quiñones, but before that, we ended up conceding a goal right after that first goal that Jude Bellingham scored. And Mora, Mora, I think he played a great game. I think he played a great first half. But him being 17 years old, I'm not going to say that he shouldn't have started. I think he should have started. I'm not going to say that it's because he's bad. No. I think Gallardo and Jorge Sanchez, those mistakes you can expect because we know they're not the best fullbacks. Mora, it's because he's young. We were bound to expect Mora to make a mistake eventually. If it wasn't now, it would have been later. And he ends up making a costly mistake that leads to a 2-0 lead for England, when truth be told, thanks to Jordan Pickford, this lead should have been a 2-1 victory for Mexico at this point in the game, because Pickford had two incredible saves against Quiñones. I mean, not against Quiñones, against Raúl Jiménez. But he was just incredible. So Mora, very unlucky there, and we go 2-0 down. And for some reason, I mean, thanks to Aguirre, honestly, thanks to the players, I still believe that we were going to be able to come back. My friends still believe that we were going to be able to come back. And Quiñones goes ahead and scores a great set piece, and he just scores from volley. Golazo from Quiñones, and the pressure was really ramping up. And I mean, Jude. Let's go ahead and talk about Jude. I mean, he of course goes ahead and gets those 2 goals within a matter of seconds. But not only that, right before the end of the first half, we have a corner, and I think Raúl Jiménez heads it into the back post, and it lands perfectly for Cesar Montes to finish, but he has to control it before he can. And Jude comes in flying and clears that goal. He basically got a hat trick. Jude got a hat trick with that clearance. That was an assured goal. He was right in front of Pickford. He was going to blast that, and things were going to get 2-2. Jude, I'll talk about England at the end, but my gosh, that's a foreshadow what I think about Jude. But anyways, the goals were right there. We could have clearly gone up ahead, but you know what? We still have 45 minutes left. And then Cesar Montes comes out injured, sadly. Yes, there was some issues. There was some reasons as to why he was injured and stuff. Should he have started? There was conversations that maybe he wasn't going to be started. I think he should have been started. He gave his all. He's been our best center back. But could that has caused what later happened for Edson Alvarez? I don't know. And I'll talk about it in a bit, because of course the second half kicks off, and the first thing we do is play it back with Edson Alvarez, and he's in charge to come out. Similar role to what Cesar Montes, just give it to Lira. That's all he needed to do. And he starts off bad, putting a bad ball. He puts a bad ball. Shortly after that, there's the cross into the box. He clears it poorly, and it lands perfect to Nico O'Reilly, hits the post. And then, of course, in the, what minute was it? In the 60th minute, on the 50-something minute, with a man up, Mexico, a man up, Pickford, off of a kickoff, gets it all the way to Edson Alvarez, which looked like a routine clearance. Kane didn't even try to contest that ball. He was kind of just in the way of Edson Alvarez. Edson Alvarez, he is good in the air. Let's not kid ourselves. This guy is 28 years old. He is good in the air, and his job right there is to clear the ball. And no, he does a horrendous clearance, got horrendously back into the game, and the ball ends up to Anthony Gordon. Now people are going to blame Jorge Sanchez for this one. They're going to say, why are you not closing up? Why aren't you marking Anthony Gordon? Gordon is way quicker than Jorge Sanchez, and we know, we know the expectations that are set for Jorge Sanchez. This guy was bound to have a mistake in him, and he was going to have a struggle fest with Anthony Gordon. What I did not expect was Edson Alvarez, 28 years old, whether he plays for Fenerbahce or doesn't, plays in Europe, has played for West Ham, has played in World Cups, has played in Copa Americas, has stepped up. He's the captain of the Mexican national team. He stepped up multiple times in the past, and he goes ahead and gives this blunder. This is not a Mora situation where it's a 17-year-old kid who is our most creative player and who had a good game but made one mistake. This is a guy who came in independently of the rhythm of the game or whatever, who came in as the captain of the Mexican national team and was entrusted by Javier Aguirre to take over Cesar Montes. Because as I would have preferred Israel Reyes there, but I understand why you would put a player like Edson Alvarez in there, because Israel Reyes is just, what, 23 years old, 22 years old. His first World Cup match, I think, is going to be against England as a center back. So I understand that. I still think that as a center back, Israel Reyes is a much better center back than Enzo Alvarez. So regardless, you put into the role. I understand you getting put in there, and you're supposed to step up, and you go ahead and deliver this blunder. Edson, you are considered as one of the brightest spots in the worst generation of Mexican football. You are one of the brightest spots. You were one of the best players in from 2018 to now. You've been that guy. You, Lozano, all these guys, but mainly you have been that guy who stepped up, and there's a reason you're a captain. To go ahead and do these blunders, it's just paying for the Mexican national team. It is. And I'll be honest, in the friendly season looks secure. Against South Korea, people are going to say he had a good game. In that goal line clearance, he caused the issue himself. Go ahead and look it back. To me, he's not a good center back. It's fine. He's not a center back. I think he's a pretty decent DM because he recovers ball well. He is very intense. He's very on the mark. But as a center back, where you're the last line of defense before they reach the goalkeeper, you've got to be on your A game. And you can't just be going in to every single ball without thinking of where that ball is going to end up. That's exactly what happened here. It's a shame for Edson Alvarez, honestly, because, like I said, he's built a career here in the Mexican national team, and he's deserved it. He's been one of our most consistent players in the dark times, but it's just a shame, honestly. But regardless, we still had a variety. We had 40 minutes to go. 40 minutes to get 2 goals. We were 3-1 down, and England had just refused to attack. So it was all on us to attack. It was all on us to create. But you go ahead and take off Gilberto Mora. Independently of whether or not he had a mistake, he is our most creative player. Please, in the comments, if you think there's a more creative player than Gilberto Mora, drop it down in the comments. You can say Alvarado, okay, sure, I'll give it to you. You're just going to have one creative player on the pitch? One? And we saw how that ended up. They put in Fidalgo, they put in Brian Gutierrez, who I think had a decent World Cup. He did not play the best, but he hasn't been playing the best. But he always is able to get you either an assist, always a pen, always a red. He's always able to get you something. And in this game, he was able to get us a pen. But even then, I think between Mora and Brian Gutierrez, the more creative player is Mora. The more creative player between Alvaro, Fidalgo, and Mora has to be Mora. The more creative player between Roberto Alvarado, El Piojo, and Mora is Mora. I don't understand the change to take out Gilberto Mora. I really don't. And then to take off Quiñones and putting a third center back, that I don't know what the instructions were clear. Just stay in the box and eventually a cross is going to come out. And how are you going to do that when you have Dan Burn, you have Konsa, Geki, center backs that are incredibly tall, good in the air. Declan Rice, Jude, I didn't even mention those guys, were inside of the box as well. How are you going to expect to just put in a cross with absolutely no movement and expect it to go into one of the heads? The one time that Santi Jimenez dropped a bit more back and got the ball and did a bit of a more dynamic run instead of just standing in the box, we almost scored. Why didn't we see more of that? Why for 40 minutes we just saw pointless crosses that most of them weren't even good? And the players who can give you a long shot, like Quiñones, maybe even I'm a bit angry still. Maybe even, what's his name? Alexis Vega, who has a good long shot. Luis Chavez, good long shot. Obed Vargas, we've seen a couple of long shots for him. Maybe he was in the play. But regardless, why not bring in a sharpshooter? Why not bring in a player who can generate a bit of a 1v1? Because as far as I know, as far as I've been told, Alexis Vega is able to generate you that 1v1. Who knows? Fuck. Even Chino Huerta can generate you a bit of a 1v1, a bit of chaos inside of the box, a bit of dynamic runs. Somebody who just so there's a bit more of a game plan B, so we can either pass it into the edge of the box or get a player to run in all the way inside. The only player that we had to do that was Alvarado, and he did a good job. He was trying to get into the box. He was trying to do the role that I just said all on his own. All on his own. Fidalgo and Brian Gutierrez, they don't have a good shot outside the box. Actually, maybe Fidalgo does, but Brian Gutierrez, he has a pea shooter. He's not going to give you a banger outside the box. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to take out Quiñones, bring in a player who can offer you those qualities. A player that England knows, oh, I can't allow this guy to take a shot. Somebody to pick up the bounces that were going to be ricocheting off the defense. And Eddie Lira played a good game. He could have been subbed off because he was not necessary in this point in time. Gallardo, bro, I don't even know if he put any good crosses in. He's been dreadful. He's been bad. And Mateo Chavez should have come on. We talked about this in the friendly when we're like, against Czech Republic. I said, Gallardo, I think he still needs to be the player going forward. But it's glad to know that we have a player that when we're dealing with a low block, we have a player that can break those or help break those and come in and put some good crosses in. And Mateo Chavez did not even touch the pitch. So, Javier Aguirre, I'm super glad that you were able to take this Mexican side into the round of 16 after getting grouped. But on the footballing aspect, on the things that we could have done, we could have clearly won this game. That's what hurts the most. We could have won this game in the 90 minutes. But of course, there was mistakes by the players. But after that, it was a game for you. It was a game for us. It was a game that England were not trying to score. They weren't trying to counterattack. It was down to us to break them. And the subs we did, the plays that we decided to choose, they were absolutely dreadful. But yeah, we can move on to England. England, these guys have what it takes to win the World Cup. Sometimes to win the World Cup, all you need is moments. All you need is players to be on sharp, on shape. Jude is the definition of that. We can talk about Harry Kane. Oh, yeah, he's had a great season. He's had a great tournament. But Jude, we saw it in the Euros. We've seen it for Madrid. We've seen it for Dortmund, Birmingham. And once again in the World Cup, he steps up, scores 2 goals. I don't care. Call him tappets, call him whatever what you want. This guy was all over the pitch for 90 minutes. He is generally going to end up. I don't even know how to qualify him as a midfielder, as a false 9. Whatever he is, he might end up as being one of the best players of all time. And if you want to qualify him as a midfielder, the best midfielder of all time. Jude has everything to do that. Everything. People may call him clumsy. People may call him that he's not as good as Pedri. I'm sorry, what I'm looking at right now, what I've been seeing for the past 5 seasons, is a player who in the biggest of occasions, when it matters the most, he raises his hands. And once again, Jude, props to you. Incredible performance by the English national team. This is the type of games that you need to win World Cups. Games where you're going to suffer. We saw it with Argentina, depending on Messi. Right now, they're going to be depending on Kane and Jude. But overall, I mean, Jordan Pickford, Jude, and Kane, this is all what I see this team. Honestly, incredible performance by the 3. Darn Pickford, we should have gotten a Pickford right there. We should have won this. That's what's painful. We should have won this game. There was, of course, some controversial calls as always, and people are going to say home advantage or whatever. In my opinion, there was no controversial calls. Absolutely none. If anything, Rice should have been sent off. Me personally, for love of the game, no. He does cleat him in the face. That probably is a red card, and probably in the second half. If that would have happened in the second half, that probably would have been a red card. But he only got a yellow card. That's fine by me. I'm not going to argue about that. There's a couple tugs. The penalty, I think from Jude, from England's side, I think that's a clear penalty, undisputed. But from the Brian Gutierrez pen, look, me personally, I would not have called it as a pen. But the reality is that pens like this have been called. We saw against Senegal the pen where Tielemans gets in front of the player while he's already sliding. Croatia versus England, it literally happened to them. I don't know who gets in front of Modric, but Modric is already mid-swing. So pens like this get given. So judging off of that, this is a pen. Me personally, I wouldn't call it. The red card, I don't know how people can argue with that. I really don't. But let's see if, like, I don't know, the Prime Minister of England is able to review that, as we saw with Florian Balogun and Donald Trump. I'll make a short about that. But yeah, man, I'm very disappointed about how this Mexico side ended up going out. But I am very excited to what this team is going to be able to do in the Copa America. And for England, go and win it. Go and win it, honestly. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all on the next one.